Speaker. Mr. Chair.
I call the Honourable Member Sua Williams-Sio. Malo sui fua.
Malo sui fua, Chairman. I just want to address Part 3, Clause 29. Clause 29 amends the definition in Section 3 of the Social Security Act and changes to introduce work availability expectation. Essentially, the work testing, and it provides the range of 10 to 20 hours a week for part-time work, or the range of 20 or 40 hours a week for full-time work, where sole parents must now, after their youngest child reaches the age of 5, find the work within those range of hours. And I want to ask the Minister whether she believes that a sole parent who would be working 10 hours part-time, whether you see that sole parent being able to sustain that sole parent's family on working those hours. See, I have a problem with that because and I maintain that families who are on the benefit want to work, and they want to work in a job that pays, that enables them to be able to sustain their families. And that's not what we're getting. And I reiterated the report from IRD yesterday, where 66% of women are looking for work but can't find work that enables them to receive a pay to sustain their family. So when you then have the range of working hours from 20 to 40 hours, and that is regarded as full-time work, that then causes me and would cause many sole parents concern, because 20 hours at the minimum wage at the moment just would not be able to help that family meet their obligations with rent, electricity, and we all know that the increase of electricity is to the point where families are just unable to meet. So the other concern I have is how many employers out there are prepared to provide that so-called flexibility to enable sole parents to be able to work those flexible hours. And I suppose the question has to be, and this is a question that came from many submitters, if the government is going to obligate those sole parents to find work in order to sustain themselves, then it should be the obligation of the government to guarantee those jobs and to guarantee an income to enable a parent to sustain themselves. Because, and this is, I suspiciously think that despite the minister's sincerity, as we've heard, the focus on the small group of people just begs the question of dog whistle politics again, because when you make comparison of the costs that surrounds the sole parent, comparison with superannuation takes about 50% of the total social spending, while domestic purposes benefit is only about 7.9% of the social spending. So when your government, when the minister's government is deciding to turn a blind eye to the increasing superannuation costs, but instead focusing on the cost on solo parents, and by the way, December 2011, only 2.8% of those receiving the domestic purposes benefit were under 20 years of age. So the government, the argument about more young people going on to domestic purposes just does not fit for the many submitters who made submission. But coming back to that clause 29, the number of hours that sole parents would be required to work just does not make me confident that the sole parent working 20 or 30 hours a week is going to be able to sustain that particular family. When you recognise the high cost of rent, the high cost of electricity, petrol costs, because it would be, and the number of available jobs, Mr. Chairman. Chairman.
I think just before I call the next member, I need to make a ruling because a point of order was raised regarding the true validity of the certificates of financial veto which were tabled by the government. Honourable members, 2 points have been raised. Firstly, the certificates cite the wrong standing order in the text. While this typographical error doesn't invalidate the certificates, I understand the Minister has lodged replacement certificates correcting this error. The second point is that the certificates have not satisfied the requirement to state with some particularity the nature of the impact on the fiscal aggregates and the reason why the government does not concur with the amendment. I note parliamentary practice in New Zealand by Dave McGee states at page 450, and I quote, "Provided that the certificate complies with the formal requirements by stating with some particularity the nature of the fiscal impact, the chairperson will not permit the government's judgment to be contradicted on a point of order." In this case, the formal requirement has been satisfied. The impact on the fiscal aggregates is clearly stated. The reason for not concurring with the amendment is one and the same, that it increases the Crown's total operating expenses. My ruling is that the formal requirement of particularity has been satisfied. The government has calculated with a figure, and they have done that. Anyone seeking the call? I call the Honourable Member Alfred Nairo. Kia ora.